No matter where you choose to go, for Kalamazoo Craft Beverage Week, you won't be disappointed.
What's happening around you? Hear about state events, businesses, and from the people behind them on the Megacast, an hour-long TV, radio, and streaming show keeping you informed on the day-to-day news. Listen in on talks with volunteer groups, documentarians, and financial advisors, Monday to Friday with your host, Tyler Kieft. Catch the Megacast, weekdays from 10 a.m. to 11 on Civic Center TV, 89.3, and streaming on mymytv.com.
This is My Michigan TV, a unique news streaming television network. To watch simply at our app to your smartphone or smart TV. You can also watch online at mymytv.com. My Michigan TV. My.
Get ready for The Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's dedicated update show. Events, businesses, and people. Anything and anyone causing a ripple in the community. And now, let's dive in to The Splash Live.
Good morning and welcome to The Splash Live. I am Larry Allen. Thank you to everyone from West Bloomfield, Keego Harbor, Sylvan Lake, and Orchard Lake for tuning in on this wonderful Tuesday morning. The Splash Live is Greater West Bloomfield's very own daily TV and radio streaming show. Watch us live Monday through Friday from 9:30 to 10 a.m. on Civic Center TV. Catch us on Comcast Channel 15, AT&T Channel 99, on the web at civiccentertv.com, on Civic Center TV's Facebook app, and you can even listen live on 89.3 Lakes FM. The Splash Live is part of Civic Center TV and Lakes FM's 90 minutes of live local programming. Well, let's take a look at the weather today. It's going to be another beautiful fall day on tap as we top out with a high of about 72 degrees. Tonight, clouds are rolling in, followed by rain showers and a low of about 56. Then for Wednesday, more rain and a high of about 66. Looking at some local headlines, last Friday, West Bloomfield Township Clerk Debbie Binder and Tri-City Fire Board Commissioner Tim McCabe joined the West Bloomfield Fire Department, along with other Oakway fire departments and their elected officials at Fire Ops 101. Fire Ops 101 exposes participants to the adrenaline rush, the smoke, and the physical stress that firefighters encounter every day while protecting our communities. This is an educational experience. To learn more about the fire service, the West Bloomfield Fire Department would like to thank everyone who helped make this day a success, especially their Oakway and International Association of Firefighter partners. And our good friend Debbie Binder is putting out fires like she does every day here in West Bloomfield. It was another big game last Friday for the West Bloomfield Lakers football squad. They rolled to a 27-0 lead in the first half, then cruised to a 34-3 victory over the Oxford Wildcats. Our own Tyler Kieft had the chance to talk with Lakers coach Tyrese Grace and ask him what the keys were in the dominating win over Oxford.
Well, you want to play at this time, clicking at all cylinders. So we were able to establish our run game last week against Oxford, and we were able to move the ball. You know, when you get into playoffs, you got to be able to run the ball. So that was one of our goals, and we was able to accomplish that. On defense, we was able to really play as a team, get better, pursuing to the ball, getting back to playoff-ready football. And that was our motive and objective, is to get ready to that playoff mindset throughout the week.
Any concerns about your offensive game being maybe a little bit too quick on the jump to get into the end zone and score? We saw that Oxford really didn't have a whole lot of issues staying on the field and sustaining the drives when they were successful on the offensive side. But West Bloomfield, to their benefit, able to march up the field and get into the end zone. As you play against a little bit more equal competition next couple weeks, Southfield A&T, and then going into playoff time, what does your team need to do to be able to sustain those drives, keep opposing defenses that are strong off the field, but also continue to play an effective offensive game?
Well, in order to be effective, you have to get positive yards on first downs. That's critical, whether it's 2 yards, 3 yards, which you don't want to be in third and long situations. And we was able last week not to put ourselves in that situation. So we had a lot of positive yards, especially in the first half. Again, the objective is to score. And we got to, as long as our defense stays strong, and it doesn't matter whether we score on one play or a 20 or 15 play drive, the key is to score. So we can score quick. That's good. That's how we play. But we all know you got to establish a run game when you get into playoff football, and that's what we're trying to do this year. Defensively, we were able to pursue. We were able to do it. We got to do a better job tackling. That's one thing we saw last week that we got to do a better job at. So we're going to be working on tackling all throughout the week. But we just mentally trying to get ready for playoff football. We got a big game coming up, and we want to get this this game out the way. We're able to do what we need to do and get ready for the next opponent.
And having these last couple of weeks coming up, last really 3, 4, 5 weeks of the season being so competitive, it's a huge benefit to these Lakers as they get ready to finish off the regular season, and certainly as they go into playoff time. Still in the leadership positions on the offensive side of the ball, running a multi-quarterback system, it's really been working out well for this team and creating that versatility. What's been just as impressive is seeing those guys come up from down the depth chart, guys like Joshua Tate in particular in the backfield, but also guys like Trenton Allison getting more reps and getting more touches. Jaden Allo's playing a key role also, and even Brandon Davis-Swain, who's been in as more of a blocking tight end, getting some touches on the offensive side of the ball this week. How important is it for you to be able to go down that depth chart going forward and move guys around and be able to put different sets out there, different targets out there, especially as you're going up against some of the best across the state?
Well, that's very, very important, especially when you're having injuries throughout the season. Those guys, that's backup guys, and the two deep has to be able to step in and do the job that we asked them to do. And they were able to do that last week. Josh Tate was able to carry some ball a few times. He's been getting better throughout the week, throughout the year, and then he had an opportunity to play a little bit more of that last week, and you're going to see more of him moving forward as we run the ball more. Trent Allison is one of our best blockers. He deserves some reps in terms of catching the ball, but he's one of our best blockers, and he's always is more than just catching the ball, and he understands that. So Trent is doing an excellent job stepping up in his blocking game and catching a few balls. And Brandon Davis-Swain was able to play some tight end for us. And when teams load the box and you think he's just a blocker, that opens up for him. So it created a mismatch, especially against Oxford. That big boy caught the ball and scored. But we try to do the three-headed monster. It's nothing new. We've done this in the past where we have running backs playing quarterback. But the good thing about these guys, all three of them can actually pass the ball. So if you think that one of those running backs is just solely in there to run the ball, then he can also pass. Jaws played quarterback in youth league. Brody, who's our second string quarterback, he can run. He's a pure run threat, catching the ball and throwing the ball. And then we got Samaj playing quarterback, who's the most versatile guy in the league, and he's able to do some special things and for some offense. And although he may not catch the ball as a receiver, he can do damage in other areas.
And you got to think, too, Rick Nant's been out the last few weeks with an injury. He will, at some point this season, return to play for the Lakers. That offense only going to get more versatile and have more wrinkles to be thinking about for opposing coaches and opposing defenses going forward. Coach, let's talk about the defensive side of the ball. Excellent game as well, holding Oxford to just 3 points on Friday night, and a team that was still able to move the ball a little bit, get the run game going. But despite that being the case, despite them being able to have an overall quality game executing their offense, your defense did a great job of shutting down opportunities, and when Oxford was in a position to take some momentum, prevent them from taking that.
Well, Oxford had a few turnovers that hurted them, and we was able to recover. So that helped us defensively get us in better field position. They was able to move the ball and they type of style of offense a few times, but we was bend don't break type of style. But we made the key plays when it was 3rd and 2. They got a tackle for loss, forced them to punt. But that's credit that to our defensive staff and the adjustment we had to make to make sure that the guys get fitted in the gaps that they need to get fitted in. So it's all about being consistent in that area. But I really think I have one of the best coaching staffs in the state. We've been around for a while, so we know what adjustments to make instantly in the game. So it's not something that we'll do and have to wait for at halftime, but we know. So we saw some things that Oxford was doing that we want to make sure that guys do what they're supposed to do, and those quick adjustments helped us out quite a bit.
This week, the Lakers have another big game as they travel on the road to take on Southfield A&T. The Warriors have only one loss on the season and are undefeated in OAA play. As always, tune into the live game on Civic Center TV and WBTV. Don't have time to sit down and watch it? Listen on the go at 89.3 Lakes FM. A reminder that this week's game will be kicking off, a tad later than normal at 7:40 p.m. That's this Friday, October 14th. We're going to take a short break here on the Splash Live, and when we get back, I'll be talking with Chief John Fitzgerald from the Keego Harbor Police Department. Stay tuned.
We'll be right back with the Splash Live. what's happening around you. Hear about state events, businesses, and from the people behind them on the Megacast, an hour-long TV, radio, and streaming show keeping you informed on the day-to-day news. Listen in on talks with volunteer groups, documentarians, and financial advisors, Monday to Friday with your host, Tyler Kieft. Catch the Megacast weekdays from 10 a.m. to 11 on Civic Center TV 89.3 and streaming on mymytv.com.
In the face of COVID-19, staying healthy is important. And now the same is true as we face the flu. Influenza has the potential to infect millions, putting lives and the healthcare system at risk. Fortunately, it's easy to protect yourself. The flu vaccine is safe and effective, and with COVID-19 still spreading, it's essential. To see how you can hit this virus head on, visit michigan.gov/flu.
Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer. Because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
And now, back to the Splash, live.
Welcome back to the Splash Live. I am Larry Nyland. Well, the local communities in the greater West Bloomfield area would not be the destination for so many people looking for a peaceful and safe place to live if it weren't for our great teams of law enforcement. Joining us now is the head of one of those great teams, Chief John Fitzgerald from the Keego Harbor Police Department. Chief, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
You're welcome. How you doing today?
Very good. How are you?
Good, thanks.
So, Chief, unfortunately, in your area right now, there's a lot of traffic issues that are going on that are causing a bit of a headache, particularly on Cass Lake Road and Orchard Lake Road. First of all, how have those construction areas been doing? How are people driving right now in those areas?
Slowly, a lot of the times. We're getting stuck at basically all three ends at certain times of the day down at Commerce Road and Orchard Lake Road in the mornings and the afternoons with school pick up and drop off at the old Abbott School that's now Roosevelt Elementary, which is actually in Orchard Lake. Then if you head northbound or eastbound up to Telegraph and Middle Belt, Orchard Lake between Middle Belt and Telegraph, that's been getting backed up because there's been an ongoing construction project there for quite a while. And then as you want to head north out of town into up Cass Lake Road, you can't get past Waterford. There's a bridge out that's been out since they've been working on it since August 15th, the culvert construction project. And that is the latest word we have is that's expected to wrap up by October 13th, I believe it is. Some of the people have complained that the markings for that don't seem to indicate the road is out. And the problem is if they turn down Cass Lake Road or turn up Cass Lake Road, it's a 2.5 mile round trip to go down there, find out you can't get through and then come back. So some of the residents in Waterford have been complaining to us because people come down, turn around in the subdivisions back there, or they think they can find another way around the out roadway, which none of those subdivisions have a way around. They all end at the lake or circle back to Cass Lake Road. And so if you go in there, there's no sneaky way around the construction site, and it's 2.5 miles there and back. So don't turn down Cass Lake Road from Orchard Lake Road if you want to get all the way through to Waterford. And it is a construction project that is in Waterford. And if you have any questions, check with the Road Commission of Oakland County. They're in charge of that project. Check their website. There's a contact number for them there. And, the construction just keeps going on. And certain times traffic is very slow through Keego Harbor into Orchard Lake and into Sylvan Lake.
So, Chief, I will admit that I am one of the guilty persons who tried to go. My favorite do-it-yourself car wash is right there at Cass Lake and Cass Elizabeth. And so I tried to go there like a month ago and I got all the way. But there is a sign right when you turn off Orchard Lake Road that says road closed. But I was like, well, that's not going to apply to me. And then I got all the way there. I mean, but there is no other way around. I mean, I ended up having to go all the way to or back to Orchard Lake and then to Telegraph and then to M59. Is that the only way to get around to that area?
The two ways around are Orchard Lake up to Telegraph, up to M59 or Voorhees. The secondary way is Orchard Lake down to Commerce Road, over to Hiller, up to Cooley Lake Road, and back around to Elizabeth Lake Road, which both of them are taking you pretty much out of your way. And we all are looking forward to this road construction wrapping up on Cass Lake Road. My officers and myself are taking the roundabout way to get to work now.
But October 13th, today's the 11th. So that it should be, it's projected to be finished by Thursday. Is that what the projection is?
That was our last update last week. I have not looked at their website yet today. I should have checked it before I came on. But the last update we got was October 13th, approximately. They did use the word approximately on the notice they put out. So that could be, approximately a couple more days. I'm not sure.
Well, I will try to wash my car on Saturday. We'll see how it goes. I'll send you a text one way or the other.
Hopefully, just not to take any blame off us. A lot of people have complained to us about the signs not giving a good indication that the road is closed ahead. And, it's the signs are put up by the Road Commission of Oakland County or their contractors. And it's not something for the police department to come in and move the signs around even though we can see that it's not always marked very well. Especially if you turn quickly off Orchard Lake Road, you may very well miss the sign that says road is closed or the bridge is out because of the way they're set up. But we can't move the signs around because we don't know exactly what is, what's going on at the far end up in Waterford. And, something might have been open and we don't want to mess with their signage.
Yeah. I mean, and we're getting close. We're getting close to a finish line. So everyone just needs a couple more weeks of patience. And I think we're going to be okay.
We are hoping so. We all want that opened again.
So
when it opens,
go ahead.
Yeah, when it opens, just remember to keep the speed limit at 35. Don't start racing through there anymore. We still have a lot of residents down there.
So, Chief, recently, one of your officers received a very special honor. Officer Nora Downs of the Keego Harbor Police Department, along with Officer Garrett Malott of the Orchard Lake Police Department, were honored with Valor Awards by the 100 Club of Detroit. The awards were presented to the Detroit Athletic Club. I saw you were there. Could you tell us the story about what Officer Downs and Officer Malott did and what led them to be honored in this way?
Sure. They did a great job. There was a vehicle pursuit that occurred that ended in, I'm not sure, it was West Bloomfield, Orchard Lake, right at Hiller and Commerce Road. The fleeing vehicles crashed into a innocent subject at the intersection, and the driver got out and fled on foot. Officer Malott from Orchard Lake Police Department was the first one to find him a few houses away. He'd run through some yards, and Officer Malott confronted him. He started fighting with Officer Malott. Officer Downs was the next officer on the scene. She got up to him, and they fought a guy who was trying to kill him. He attacked Officer Malott with some tree branches he had picked up. Then, in fighting with both of them, he gouged at both their eyes. He attempted to disarm both of them, grabbing at their handguns, trying to pull them out of their holsters. Tried to take the taser away from them. And both officers had to go hand-to-hand combat to bring this subject down. He even actually tried to wrap the radio microphone cord around Officer Downs' neck to strangle her with it. The officers, with their tenacity, their training, and their will to fight and live, were able to successfully take him into custody. And for what they did, they were honored by the 100 Club of Detroit, and it was a very good Valor honor for them.
Wow. So was there any kind of body cam or police vehicle footage of that? I can imagine that would be crazy. What that scene was?
Unfortunately, our officer doesn't have body cam. I don't know about Orchard Lakes, and the in-car camera doesn't get it because it ended up a few houses away in a side yard somewhere that was not in front of where the police car stopped and the officers ran from. So unfortunately, there's no video of it. But once again, they did a great job in bringing this fleeing suspect into custody, well protecting themselves as they did it.
With that, Chief, your department recently posted on Facebook a reminder to folks to wear your seatbelt and to keep your children buckled in their car seats. Is this still an issue with a lot of folks? Do you see a lot of people not wearing their seatbelts and having kids in the vehicle that are not properly restrained in their car seats?
They're doing a pretty good job with the kids. I think it's been drilled into them, and Michigan's usually had a pretty high compliance rate for seatbelt wearing. but there's still the people out there that for one reason or another decide they're not going to wear one. And it is a primary violation that if you're not wearing your seatbelt, you can be pulled over and issued a ticket for it. And if there's something else going on in your car with, open alcohol or a weapon that shouldn't be there, if they find it during a stop for a seatbelt violation, you could get yourself in even more trouble. But the important thing is buckle up. Seatbelts do save lives. They saved mine in a crash before, and I know a bunch of officers whose lives they've saved. So I'm a full advocate in seatbelts, front seat, back seat, proper child restraints in terms of booster seats or car seats, front seat, and if they're rear seat facing, just make sure you follow the instructions on those car seats. It's very important to keep the kids and yourself buckled up.
All right, Chief, before we let you go, anything else you wanted to mention real quick?
I don't really have any new news. We just have the construction issues we're dealing with, and we've talked that one to death. But I wish everybody a safe fall. It's my personal favorite time of year. We got football and great weather, and the leaves turning. So if you get a chance, get out and enjoy this good weather before the winter comes.
Well, Chief, thank you so much for joining us this morning. I want to thank you and your entire team for all the hard work you do there.
Much appreciated. Thank you. Have a great day.
Chief John Fitzgerald from the Keego Harbor Police Department. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll check in with local singer Byron Consumer. That's next here on The Splash Live.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live.
Now that the vaccine is available for children 5 and up, why do you recommend it?
Kids are part of the community and they can spread COVID.
We're seeing both healthy children getting sick from the virus as well as children with underlying health conditions.
They can easily bring the virus home to other people that are vulnerable and make them sick as well.
This vaccine can change that and keep children safe.
It's essential that your children get vaccinated to protect them, to protect your families, and to protect those in the community around you.
What's happening around you? Hear about state events, businesses, and from the people behind them on the Megacast, an hour-long TV, radio, and streaming show keeping you informed on the day-to-day news. Listen in on talks with volunteer groups, documentarians, and financial advisors, Monday to Friday with your host, Tyler Kieft. Catch the Megacast, weekdays from 10 a.m. to 11 on Civic Center TV, 89.3, and streaming on mymytv.com. And now, back to The Splash Live.
Welcome back to The Splash Live. I am Larry Nyland. Well, if you grew up listening and loving the tunes of Tom Jones, Kieran Carpenter, Neil Diamond, and Elvis, we have just the event for you coming up this weekend in Keego Harbor. Joining us now is one of the stars of that upcoming show, Byron Consumer. Byron, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hey, how you doing? Thank you for having me, of course.
So let's go back a little bit in time. Whenever we have artistic folks on, I always like to ask them, what was your musical inspiration? When did you start singing?
Well, it was from the sound of my mother's voice, just whistling and humming melodies when I was 2 years old. And I think I was about 2 in the backseat of the car in the booster, just loving the sound of the human voice. So that kind of captured my attention. It was sort of a natural thing for me just to start singing. I used to be a toddler and sing in the living rooms when my parents had company, and my brother was in a garage band, and I would always bug them to get on the microphone and sing with them. The early inspiration, musical. I like the voices of a lot of female artists, actually, like Patti LaBelle, Barbra Streisand, artists like that had big melodies, big strong endings. I sang in rock bands and alternative rock bands. So I sang everything from very melodic to very heavy metal, classic rock. The band Kiss. I really appreciated Kiss because of the frontman Paul Stanley and their antics, how thrilled the crowds always seem to be and how happy everyone seems to be. The music was very happy and fun. So it segued right into Tom Jones, Neil Diamond, and Elvis, because they're fun, happy, big, strong endings of some of their ballads, and that's right up my alley. I just love it. It's part of me.
So you mentioned some of the artists that you perform. You do a lot of Neil Diamond, Elvis, but that Tom Jones, when you hear you sing Tom Jones, it sounds like Tom Jones is singing. Could you talk a little bit about, did he have any inspiration on you, or did you just kind of embrace him later in life?
Well, I didn't really follow Tom Jones. I sang in a singing competition back in 2014. It was called National Singing Star. And I went in and sang All of Me. It was a cover song. And I ended up getting into the contest and getting all the way through to the very end. And I asked the director of the talent show what would be a really big song for me to sing, because I really wanted to win it. And she said a song from Tom Jones called I Who Have Nothing. And I listened to that, and I just couldn't believe my ears. And then I started listening to Tom Jones more and more and more. Of course, I studied the song. Ultimately, I won the singing contest, I think in part from singing that song. But I just got immersed. And since 2014 is really when I've been studying Tom Jones. Everything from his interviews, his early shows, when they got carried away with his, kind of over the top sexuality and that back in the 70s, I think everyone's got a little carried away. But I appreciated his early years in his late 60s and early 70s when he was just really belting. He had a show called This Is Tom Jones. And I watched several episodes of that, just watching his manners and watching his voice, his throat structure, and how he's singing and projecting. And it was kind of, there were some similarities to the way I sing naturally. So it was a pretty easy segue for me to sing his songs. They're complex. I mean, they're semi-operatic, and there's big variety of melodies going on with his songs. And I just absolutely fell in love with it. When I do yard work or drive around on the tractor, I'm listening to Tom Jones.
So this Saturday, a chance for people to see some Tom Jones, see some other songs you're going to perform with your wife, Michelle, and some other folks. A big Sweetest Day performance. Can you tell everybody about when and where they can take this show in?
Yeah, so Santia Banquet Center is next to Gino's Restaurant on Cass Elizabeth. And it's a newly renovated banquet facility. Irene and Gino were kind enough to have me do my very first show there when I was just beginning to do these sort of shows with the band. And I remember, I think it was back in 2015 or 16, we did our very first show there. So we are actually, this is a farewell show for me. I'm doing the very last show of this kind on the west side at Santia, and then the next one will be in April on the east side of town. It's hard to keep a 12-piece band going and do as many shows and hold on, and pay full 100% focus to my all-day full-time job. And I can get into that a little bit later if you want to hear more about that. But the show this Saturday is very special. The seats are selling very quickly, especially as we enter into the final week leading up to it. I'm getting orders daily. It is a 200-seat capacity, and we're almost there. So I think there's like 4 more tables left in table seat 10. I did enter a show-only price of $35. It's a full menu. It's going to be buffet style. There'll be chicken piccata. There'll be salmon, fettuccine alfredo, salads, cheeses, desserts, coffee, tea. There'll be a beef carving station. And so you'll be fed well. I invited a friend, Donnie Rod, who's a Rod Stewart impersonator. I always like to bring in local artists to have a little bit of fun at our shows. So this time I'm bringing in a Rod Stewart impersonator to kind of carry it a fun halftime. I'm going to do a 2-hour show. Doors will be 6:30, 7 o'clock. Dinner, strolling buffet, and I'll keep my eye on the crowd once everyone's had their food and they're kind of segue with the dessert, and we'll start the show. And Michelle will come out, my wife, and begin with some Karen Carpenter, and then we'll move into the main show with a mixture. My wife's singing some other songs from other artists. I'll be singing Tom Jones, Neil Diamond, Elvis Presley, Engelbert Humperdinck. And it's just going to be an absolute blast. The band is on fire. It's a 12-piece band with backing vocalists. I have a very high-end sound system and high-end sound engineer. So it's going to sound very, very good. And we're also going to be respectful of noise levels. We're going to make sure it's a nice, full, rich sound to carry throughout the room. So it will not disappoint.
Well, Byron, I want to wish you folks great luck this weekend. Enjoy the show. And if folks want to come out and enjoy it at the Santia Hall, they can just give them a call for reservations, correct?
Actually, yeah, they wouldn't need, they shouldn't call. It's actually all online. They can call for sure, and then they'll just explain where to go. But if you could post this, post reel, or I can say it now, it's the website address. It's sweetest October 15th.eventbrite.com. And it's basically the word sweetest, OCT15.eventbrite.com, and Bright is spelled BRITE. So sweetest OCT15.eventbrite.com, and you click that link and you're going to see everything you're going to need to see. There are discounts for tables of 8 and tables of 10. I'd like to see all our neighborhood friends there. This is going to be a very special show. It'll be emotional for me.